Hello, today we're going to introduce our topic, myotonic dystrophy. I'm Danny.
Albert.
So first we have our table of contents. We'll go through our introduction of what the disease is first, and then we'll go through its genetics, and then we'll cover its history, and finally we'll tell you the treatments we can do.
Okay, so introducing the disease. So myotonic dystrophy is an autosomal dominant disease, which means both male and female can get it, and you only need one of the dominant alleles to have that phenotype. And there is a trinucleotide repeat in chromosome 19, which causes the skeletal muscles to be weakened gradually. And for myotonic dystrophy, there are two types of this disease. Type 1, which is DM1, and type 2, DM2. In this presentation, we're going to focus on type 1. So, as I said, it's a trinucleotide repeat mutation in DMPK gene, where the CTG codons are repeated abnormally from 5 to 38 times normally, and sometimes up to 1,000 sometimes. And so symptoms and diagnostic of this disease. So the most prominent one, as I said, the skeletal muscle tissues are damaged and weakened. In those areas, the neck, the forearms, the hands, the lower leg, and the feet is shown in diagram. And yeah, there are weaknesses of muscles, difficulty swallowing, and abnormal heart rhythms.
The next part is our genetics. First, there is the Punnett group. There are two situations of the Punnett group, one carrier and double carrier. If one of the parents have myotonic dystrophy, their children has a 50% probability of getting the myotonic dystrophy, which is baby small d. And if both of the parents have myotonic dystrophy, your children have 70% getting myotonic dystrophy. Also include the big D homozygous. And here's a pedigree. Myotonic dystrophy does not follow a complex inheritance. So basically, if one of the parents have myotonic dystrophy, their children, whether it's male or female, will have a 50% probability of getting myotonic dystrophy. And the type of mutation of myotonic dystrophy is insertion and missense mutation. As Albert mentioned, CTG repeated 5 to 38 times in chromosome 19, sometimes even up to 1,000 times. It is also an incomplete dominance and mutable alleles. The severity of this disease can vary from people to determine how many CTG is repeated. It can also be affected by how many the dominant allele is one has. And as I mentioned before, it has two types, D1, DM1, and DM2. Both affect people differently. And lastly is the DNA sample. This is a wild-type DNA sample with only one CTG. However, the mutated version has more than 10 CTG.
So next we're on the history. So the person who discovered it is Hans Gustav Wilhelm Steinhardt. Is a German scientist who discovered it, and then he discovered it in 1909. But the causes of the type 1 of myotonic dystrophy is only determined until 1992 by other scientists. And for which population is most likely to get the disease is adults and Europeans. So basically European adults. And for the reason why it's still around is because there are many ways to improve the condition caused by the disease. For example, aerobic exercises, which includes running and walking. And you could also get medical treatments to improve the conditions. Then for the ways to and because these ways can improve the conditions, there's not an essential need to let the disease be removed when we evolve, because it can be the damage and harm can be reduced. And we're on to the treatments. So the first treatment is CRISPR-Cas9, which is a genetic, this is a gene modification process, and then some of its benefits is that it's efficient and simple, and will be directly used on the embryo when it's fertilized. And it could like change it before the baby is born, and then also avoids foreign genetic material to bond to a gene. But some of the disadvantages will be its ethical issue, because some may not want their genetics to be changed, and then plus when the baby is born and when they grow up, they probably don't even know that they got modified, so it's a bit unethical. And yeah.
Okay, so the other way of getting rid of myotonic dystrophy is eugenics, which is essentially selective breeding in humans. So the advantages of eugenics is that it tries to eliminate the disease in a more ethical way than CRISPR-Cas9, as it does not directly use technology to edit and alter the gene, but it instead tries to let the ones who don't have the disease make the future generations. And another pro of this is that it has no safety issues, and yeah, it is just a lot simpler, but it takes longer, which is one of the cons. Another one is that even though it tries to get rid of the disease over time, it has no control of other genetic mutations, and those could happen as eugenics is being carried out. So we think that this disease does not necessarily have to be treated or removed by technology, because it is not deadly. Instead, it just weakens your muscles, and those symptoms can improve through the aerobic exercises and medicines that I said before.
Oh, by the way, before we end, if someone wants to prevent this disease, it mostly happens just because of bad luck. You're like born with it off luck. So if you want to prevent it, you just need to pray that you're not getting it when you're born. So yeah.
Marry someone without it.
Yes, that too. Thank you. Yes.
So what happens if like the person has too dominant?
The symptoms are more severe.
Yeah, most of it.
They don't die immediately.
It's
Do they die early though?
Depends how they're
Okay.
the muscles are weakened more. Yeah.
yeah. Or more parts.
How to pray before you
What?
It is not determined by the baby's consciousness.
Yes.
You said that European adults get this disease, right? But how about European children? They eventually go to adults.
Oh, and when you're a children, you don't see it. It's not shown as much. But because the disease is a gradual like muscle waste, so like as a child, your muscles are still like healthy and stuff. But when you grow up, you start to see the symptoms. Your muscles are getting weaker and weaker. Yes.
So you say like aerobic exercise can improve the symptoms of what intensity of like the exercise, or like how often do you do exercise?
Each case is specific and needs professional medical people to mountain intensity index?
differs from people to people. Yes,
What's the difference between type 1 and type 2?
it's a different mutation between different mutation and different genes.
So areas of muscles that are affected are different, but we didn't include that as this presentation is focusing on type.
Is eugenic and the selective breeding the same?
Yes.
Oh.
Is there more?
Wait, so if like before you were born, don't we carry out a lot of like different tests to see if we have any like weird conditions? So you wouldn't know that like that. Like you wouldn't know before you were born that you had this. You would or wouldn't?
You would. If you did like tests in your DNA.
Yeah, but then if you had it back then you're not an adult.
Rephrase that question.
Like you said European adults.
Yes.
If you diagnosed to have this thing back before you were born, then you already have it and you're not an adult yet. That's her question.
As I said, it's not showing when you're a child, so
But then you still have it.
you still have it, but it's like it's not grown. It has not done its effects yet.
Okay, what's the point of this?
There's no point.
Cannot
Can
detect
we
it.
start curing when you're children if you knew you have this disease?
Yeah, you can exercise. If you
So
know.
European adults. Yeah, why?
This is a wording
Well,
problem.
It's a wording problem,
more-
okay?
Okay, I think I'll come in here because, like, if the confusion is, do kids have it? The answer is, they would have the mutation, they would be expressing it, but you have to understand is this: it's a muscular-based disease, and in your guys' age bracket, you guys have so much human growth hormone in your guys' system right now that, like, all of you could go to the gym and follow like a football-style training plan, and you would all end up with like. You'd all end up like jacked with like big muscles and everything because that's just your current phenotype that happens as a kid. So my guess to answer their question, just kind of, because they wouldn't know this, is that when you're younger, you have so much HGH in your blood, you will never even see the symptoms until like when you hit about 30 or you get my age, HGH goes, and that's probably when you need to see it. Is afterwards.
Why only like European and like not why not
Mo-
Asian?
Most likely.
So Asian can
Everyone can get, but
Oh.
European adults most likely. I just didn't say it.
Okay, thank you.